everybody. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to this live about safety in Mexico City. Make sure you stay tuned. We're going to get a lot of popular questions about safety in Mexico City that I have heard through the comments and over the years just from different friends, different family members, asking me about my 10 years of experience in Mexico. Today in this live, we're going to be hitting questions like, where should you avoid in Mexico City? What about getting money in Mexico City? Where or how should you do that? How does that work? Lots of different questions like these, so stay tuned. And if you're watching this in the replay, go ahead and comment down below where you're watching from, why you're interested in Mexico City. Whoever's here, I see we have a few people connected. Comment in the in the chat. Let us know who you are. I would love to talk to you. Take your questions over there in the chat about Mexico City or Spanish. I'd be happy to answer those questions for you. So thank you for joining us today for this live about safety in Mexico City. Any questions you have about safety, pop them in the chat right now, or Mexico City in general. I will do my best to answer those for you. So let's just pull up a couple of things. First of all, here's a little about me. If you have never met me before, real quick introduction. My name is Sarah. Here online, I'm known as Senora Sarah. I've lived in Mexico since 2014, so that's 10 years now in Mexico, and I've been mostly in Mexico City. I also lived in a small town on the Gulf Coast for a while. I've taught foreign language online since 2014. Some of that was English as a second language, and now I teach Spanish as a second language. And I learned 2 foreign languages myself, so I know how it feels to learn a foreign language. If you're interested in checking out Spanish classes that I teach for kids, check it out at outschool.com/teachers/Senora Sarah, and I'll definitely be talking about that more as we go. So let's jump right in to a few of these questions. So the first question I get a lot is, where should I avoid in Mexico City? Have you ever asked that question before? Where should you avoid? I'm going to show you basically where I think you should avoid. Now, please keep in mind this is subjective, but let's take a look here. I'm trying to see if I can draw on this, but I don't know if I can. So anyway, basically where you want to avoid is everything in this map of Mexico City on the right-hand side, so everything in the eastern end of the city. There's really no reason to go over to that eastern side of the city. Most of what you're going to want to see is over in the western side of the city. The left-hand side of the map is where you're going to stick to. And you're going to go up above, everything above this line. I'm not sure if you can see my mouse, so who knows. But there's a little pink bubble here, Coyoacan. Everything like up above that too. Everything below that, it's not necessarily dangerous, but there's nothing to see. Like even the public transportation in Mexico City doesn't get down into those areas for the most part. So even though you're looking at a map here of Mexico City, you won't really be visiting most of these areas. So the areas that you want to avoid, particularly Iztapalapa, that's very, very infamous. And Iztacalco as well. It's okay. Over here, these are okay. Venustiano Carranza, Gustavo Madero, they're fine. But you're probably going to be sticking to these areas. When you visit Mexico City, you're probably going to be sticking to Coyoacan, Benito Juarez, Cuauhtemoc, Miguel Hidalgo. These are the areas where most of the touristy things are. So that's where you should stick to, and you should probably try to avoid Iztapalapa, definitely. There's nothing to see in Iztapalapa and Iztacalco and anything really over here to this side, except the airport. So that is to answer one of the main questions I often get, where to avoid in Mexico City. Of course, there are some neighborhoods where you should avoid in there, but, you know. All right. I see a question. You're planning to come to Mexico City next month. Is it a better rate to exchange money in Mexico or to buy ahead of time? We got a question. Sorry, I'm still learning how to do this, so hang in there. JD, thank you so much for your question. Bear with me as I figure out of the thing. That's a really good question, JD. The first thing I would tell you is don't exchange money at the airport. That's never going to be your best bet. Only if that is the absolute, like, last resort, then you could do that. But what in the world? Okay, that's better. Okay. But is it a better exchange rate in money or buy ahead of time? I would get a little bit ahead of time at least. That way you have some cash with you. And since we're on the money topic, let's go on. If you have any more money questions, let me know. What I do when I'm in Mexico is, well, I'm usually in Mexico. I almost never would exchange money before I get here. I just have my debit card. I alert my bank that I'm visiting Mexico City or visiting Mexico. And you can use your debit card as long as it has a Visa logo. You can use it in Mexico and just pull money out of the ATM here in Mexico. I find that works perfectly fine, and you usually get pretty good exchange rates like that. I also like to use my credit card as I'm here but pro tip, everybody, and JD, thank you for watching. If you do choose to use your credit card, never choose to like convert the currency to US dollars or whatever your currency is. No, just pay in pesos. So I hope I answered your question. If I did not, please like type me another message and let me know, okay? But thank you. Thank you for your comment. Hopefully that helped you. We're going to talk a little bit more about money coming up. So if you're watching and you have more money questions, it's coming, okay? We're going to answer more about that. All right, let's see if I can figure out the technicalities here. StreamYard, coming on back. We talked about, I want to ask, where do you guys want to go in Mexico City? Is there like a specific tourist location that you are interested in Mexico City? Comment in the live comments, or if you're watching the replay, pop a comment below the video. I'd love to know where you want to go and why. That way I can provide you with information on that, okay? All right, another question I often get is, can I walk around Mexico City safely? We're going to hit more safety, especially for women traveling alone. Is it safe for us to travel alone? That's coming up. Stick around. We're going to talk a little bit right now, though, about just walking around. Can you get around Mexico City safely? First of all, I want to tell you guys, Mexico City is a very walkable city. It's a lot of places in Latin America are built to be walked. It's not like in the US where you have to drive everywhere. It is made to be walkable. So that's great, although you're going to be exhausted because you'll probably get like 15,000 steps a day if you walk, but it is a walkable place. I have a picture of a really bad sidewalk here, though, because the sidewalks in Mexico City are so bad. They're so horrible. Hold on one second. We're talking about a tech issue here. Sorry, everybody. Okay. Thank you for your patience. No sé. Okay, sorry guys. We're talking about no sé qué pasa. Okay. Sorry everybody. Well, my husband's helping me try to figure out a tech issue, but I think if you can see like the whole slide right now, please type me a message and tell me if you can or cannot see it, because something was wrong there. But also, let's go back to the sidewalk issue. Yeah, sidewalks are really bad in Mexico City. Bad. Now, if you're in like Polanco or like a super nice area, the sidewalks are great. For the most part, though, thank you, JD. The sidewalks are super horrible in Mexico City. Like I can't even find a picture of how bad it was, but it's so awful. Like they're cluttered up, first of all, because there's all kinds of ambulant vendors just cluttering the sidewalks. So I often find myself just choosing to walk in the street because it's so difficult to walk on the sidewalk. And also there's no regulation. So they're often like, I mean, you have to take humongous steps up and down because they're just all over the place. But probably what you're wondering about is the last point, pickpockets. Can you walk around without worrying about being pickpocketed? No, not really. You always should be aware in Mexico City that you are being watched and you are a target. Everybody is always being watched and you are a target. I've never been pickpocketed in Mexico City, and as you can see, let's just show this real clearly. Look, I'm a white girl, okay? I'm obviously a foreigner. I've never been bothered. I've never been pickpocketed. However, I am very cautious. I am always aware that I am being watched by someone, because you always are, and I never have money out and all that. We're going to talk about that coming up. So if you can walk around, if you know how to walk around a big city, being aware and cautious, anywhere, then you are going to be fine in Mexico City. So let's come back to that. Thank you, JD, for your message. Yeah, skip the airport exchange. So JD brings up a good point. Let's bring up what he says here. I think it's he, but I'm sorry if it's she. Thank you for the pro tip. You'll bring some pesos and skip the airport exchange. Yes, please do not exchange money at the airport unless you absolutely have to. If you do need to exchange money at the airport because that's your only option, just do a little bit, okay? I'm talking $100 or less. I have heard stories, and I know this actually happened, where people brought a lot of money into Mexico City to exchange at the airport, and then they were promptly attacked outside the airport by people that looked like police. I don't know if they were actually police, but they were either dressed as police or they were police. They were tipped off by some airport employees, obviously, or somebody just hanging out watching, that this person had brought a lot of money into Mexico City, and he was, robbed and left for dead, basically. Really terrible story there. So if you have any further questions about safety or money, anybody, let me know in the chat. I'd love to hear it. So, coming back to, can you walk around Mexico City safely? Yes, you can. I've done it for 10 years, but you do need to be street smart. Curious, what are you worried about when it comes to visiting Mexico City? Comment in the live chat if you're here live, or comment below if you're watching the replay. I'd love to know. What are you concerned about? Let me know. All right, so we've covered where to avoid in Mexico City, whether or not you can walk around safely. Let's pop on over to, can you safely eat the street food in Mexico City? To me, street food is one of the best things, and I'm going to answer this question with probably. You could probably safely eat street food in Mexico City. So, personally, I am a person that has IBS. Maybe a little bit too much information, but I do suffer from IBS, and so I don't eat a whole lot of street food, but I do sometimes, and usually I'm fine, honestly. So even if you do struggle with some gut issues, you're probably going to be okay if you eat street food in Mexico City, if you follow some of the key points that I'm about to share with you. Number one, try to look for a street food stall that's busy, so it's turning over a lot of food. And if possible, check it out to see if they have ice for some of the things. I gotta admit, guys, that's rare. It's really rare for the street food stalls to have like ice, especially meat and everything. It's usually they just have it sitting in buckets, which, if that worries you and you have like a severe health problem, you might want to avoid the street food, honestly. Always have Pepto-Bismol with you. They have little Pepto pills. You can buy these actually in anywhere. You could just walk in and just ask for Pepto, and they know what Pepto is. Pepto is also a term we use in Mexico. So just ask for it, and they will sell it. They might even sell it to you like 1 or 2 tablets. That's one of the coolest things about Mexico, is that you don't have to buy a big box of things. You can just buy like individual servings. So always just have a couple little Pepto pills in your purse or in your pocket, in your wallet even, just in case. If you do choose to eat street food is so good, everybody. Let me know what street food you want to try, or what street food you absolutely love, either in the chat or down in the comments. What we're looking at in the picture here is a picture I took. That's called a pambazo. It's a certain kind of hot sandwich they make, and it's super good. If you want to know more, check out my video about street food in Mexico City. And I do see your question there, JD. I'll get to that in just a second. So this is the video I wanted to show you. This is the one that has 10 different street foods that I review. Mexico City, eat cheap. Under $3. Everything in this is under $3 except for one thing. It's like $3.33. So check it out. Is it safer just to avoid the ice? Ooh, that's a really good question. I have heard this about visiting Mexico. If anybody doesn't know what JD is talking about, avoiding ice. I've never avoided ice in Mexico, and I've never had a problem. So, that's a tip you do hear, right? If you hear about, never use the ice, I always use ice. I never have a problem. But it is recommended that you avoid the ice, because you don't know if they're just filling it up with tap water and freezing it. So if you're really, really worried about it, I would say yes, JD. Just avoid the ice. Just avoid the ice. And usually when you get a drink somewhere, it's served in a bottle anyway. Here's another tip on that. If you do get a drink and you're really concerned about like the cleanliness of things, just get ask them to actually bring the bottle and like open it in front of you too. But I've never had a problem with the ice. So hopefully that helps. Thank you for your questions. That makes this nice and interactive. I really appreciate that. All right. So, street food in Mexico City. Let's go on. That's the video I want you to check out. Taxis! Are taxis in Mexico City safe? Kinda. Kinda. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Mexico City, like the transportation and let me see here. Actually, sorry, I forgot public transportation. I'll get to that in a second. Okay. So with taxis, I'm going to say please avoid using taxis. Not because I think you're going to get kidnapped, because that's really rare. It has happened. Not to me, but it does happen sometimes. But really, the thing with taxis is you're running the risk of being scammed more than anything. I don't think you're running the risk of actually you're risking your safety in Mexico City with the taxis. But just take Uber, take Didi. I had a viewer recently comment and told me that why don't you recommend Didi? That's D-I-D-I. I'm going to put it right now in the chat so you can see what it is. Does it go? Okay, there it is. So if you're looking in the chat, if you're looking at the chat replay, or you're in the chat right now live, it's D-I-D-I, I've never used Didi, but I heard it's cheaper than Uber, and it's basically like the same kind of service as Uber. So just do that. Just do Uber. Uber is absolutely everywhere in Mexico City, and public transportation is extensive in Mexico City. There's the metro bus. There are cable car lines. There are tons and tons and tons of buses. There's also there's an electric bus that actually has it looks like a tram almost. It's called the trolley bus. All of that is perfectly safe for you to use. So yeah. Oh, cool. Thank you, JD. I'm so happy the videos are informative for you. I try to make them informative. If you have any suggestions, please comment, let me know, or something you want to see, let me know. I'm always trying to figure out what people want to see to help you. Okay. Oh yeah, I also wanted to tell you, please don't drive. Don't rent a car. Don't do it. You don't want to drive in Mexico City. It's a nightmare. The traffic is horrible. I mean, even if you're 10 kilometers from a place, it could take you an hour because of the traffic. You don't want to do it. There's also professionals called, what are they called? Montachoques. I'll write that in the chat box for you now, okay, everybody? So if you're watching the replay, you can watch the chat replay too. Montachoques are professional car crashers. I've never personally run into these, thankfully, but they actually purposely crash and then intimidate you into giving them money to fix the vehicle. So don't drive in Mexico City, okay? It's also just stressful. It's such a big city. You don't want to do it. I'd like to take a moment to remind you to please pop over to senorasarasclassroom.com, where you can see all the stuff we offer, from Spanish classes to tours, interpreting services, etc. Check it out. You'll see that listed at the bottom of all these slides now. Let's go into, is public transportation in Mexico City safe? Some people seem to be terrified of public transportation in Mexico City, and I want to talk to you a little bit about it. I think it's wonderful, but there's certain types of public transportation you should avoid. So first of all, the ones you should definitely do. We've got the metro bus, and maybe the trolley bus. Those are the three you should stick to. You can also do the cable cars. The cable cars are safe, but they don't really take you anywhere that you would want to go as a tourist, unless you just want to be on the cable cars for the sake of being on the cable cars, right? But they're not taking you anywhere that you need to go. I'm just going to check out oh, thank you so much, Steve, watching from Tucson. Sidewalks are damaged and dangerous. Yes, they are. The sidewalks are damaged and dangerous. They're really bad, especially if you have any type of footing or mobility issue. Definitely an issue. So coming back to the public transportation, ones I'd like you to avoid are any type of just a regular city bus, not the ones with the I keep doing this. Can y'all see my fingers? Let's get this off here. This is the little sticks they have that stick up to the wires. They're electric. That's the trolley bus. I'm going to write that in the chat for you now. Thank you for tuning in, Steve. If you have any questions or suggestions, pop it in the chat. I'd love to know what you have to say. So the trolley bus is good. The metro bus is good. Metro bus is what you're looking at here in the picture. The metro is good. What I want you to avoid are any other buses. So there are other buses that are usually green and kind of short bus. Those are called micros. Avoid them. It's not because they're unsafe, but it's because you'll get lost. You actually have to tell the driver where you want to get off on the micros, and you probably don't know where you want to get off, and you can't always see because it's usually super full of people. You're sometimes standing, sometimes even they're kind of busted, and the seats have these metal prongs where there should be a seat, but there's not, and then it'll cut you. Yes, that's happened to me. Yeah. Also, you might fall because you're standing. You're crammed in with a bunch of people, and you can't see out the windows to see where you're going. So, yeah, no micros. And also, the number one I want you to avoid, listen up right now, avoid combis. COMBIS. Avoid these at all costs. Listen to me. Avoid them. Combis are little vans. Sometimes they're Volkswagen vans. Sometimes there are others, but they're white vans, and they're like little. They treat them like little buses, and usually they'll take you like outside of places in Mexico City. Never, ever, ever, ever use a combi because they are notorious for getting robbed at gunpoint. Okay? No, we're not taking combis. You're not doing it. I don't do it. You're not doing it. Okay. Great. I want you to learn the Metro and the Metro bus systems, especially in the picture. This is a double-decker Metro bus, line 7 of the Metro bus. This is a pro tip for anybody that wants to come to Mexico City. It goes on the coolest part. It goes on this street called Paseo de la Reforma, which is the prettiest street. Ooh, good job. Good question. Let me finish this sentence, and then I'll get to your question, JD. Yeah, so the Metro bus goes on Paseo de la Reforma, and it takes you into all the coolest areas. It even passes the castle. It passes the Angel of Independence. And it's really cool at night, and especially if you get the seat upstairs. It's only 6 pesos as of the recording of this video. And now I'm going to answer JD's question. Thank you, JD. He says, no combis. For the Metro bus, do I need to buy a pass? Yes, you do. I actually have a video teaching you how to buy that pass. Let me send that to you right now, okay? I actually train you all on how to get the pass. It's called the transportation card, and it works for the Metro. It works for the Metro bus. It works for the trolley bus. It works for the cable cars, and a few other things, too. So you could just get one, and you actually have to buy it at a machine, or you can sometimes buy it in the Metro station, like at the taquilla, at the window with the actual person, but you can't always do that. And sometimes the machines don't work, so you might have to be a little bit persistent finding one of those machines. But I'm going to send 2 videos right now for you and for everybody that wants to watch these. Please watch these. They're my most helpful videos about the Metro and the Metro bus. Please give me just a second. I'm going to send them right now. Please be nice on the Metro video. It was my first video here, and so it's not very pretty, okay? The Metro bus video gets a little bit better, but there's the Metro, and then the Metro bus is coming. But I teach you, in these videos, I teach you everything you need to know about getting that card, how to recharge it. I even walk you through the steps on the screen in Spanish so you're not totally lost. Like, I translate it all for you. I tell you exactly what to push. Like, I'm a teacher, right? So I'm holding your hand, walking you through the whole process the quickest way. Here it is. So that second one is coming, the second video. And if you could do me a favor, share it with somebody too, these videos. Share these because that helps me a lot. Thank you so much. Also, I just wanted to say, if you're here live, I really appreciate you. Thank you for coming. All right. So if you're also here live, there are now 2 links in the chat for those 2 videos. Check those out. Watch those, and you'll be ready. You'll be ready. Also, for public transportation, by the way, let's go back to this topic. For the Metro bus, the cable cars, the trolley bus, there's police in almost every single station, particularly the Metro. There's police everywhere, and sometimes the National Guard as well. Don't be alarmed. This is normal Mexican security. I'm actually happy to see them. And also, the cool thing about the Metro and the Metro bus is, like, you don't really get... There's no violent crime on the Metro and the Metro bus because my theory is people have nowhere to go. So, you know, like, if anyone attacks you on the Metro, as soon as you get to the next station, everybody knows there's police. So I saw it happen one time. Let's talk about it. One time I saw, I don't know what happened, but I saw the aftermath that a guy, like, grabbed this thief, a alleged thief, by his, like, neck. His collar was, like, dragging him over to the police in the Metro station. It was like everybody was screaming, and then it's like, that's so stupid. The police are right there. You cannot escape. Why are you trying to rob something from people on the Metro? I don't know. But pickpocketing on the Metro is a big thing. So please keep your valuables, like, a little weird, but I kind of stick them in my pants. I don't stick them in my pockets. I know it's weird, but nobody's getting in there. So yeah. Okay. So that's safety in the metro and the metro bus. If you have any more questions about it, let me know. I'd love to help you. Let's get on to more about the money question. JD had asked the questions about money a little bit earlier, so let's talk about it because this is a big deal, okay? People have asked me, like, where should I get money? How much should I bring? Okay, first of all, I want you to change your mindset when you're in Mexico City. If you've never visited Latin America before, or you've never just lived in a big city, even in the US, you need to remember you are being watched always. There's always somebody, even in like a high establishment where you think you're safe, there is always someone watching to take advantage of you or to tell their friends outside to take advantage of you. So keep this in mind. And thank you for your question, Steve. I'm going to get to this in just 1 second to your question, but thank you for asking. I will answer that. So back to the money question. What about where should you get money? If you must use the ATM, which I think is probably the best way for you to get money in Mexico City, go to the store to use the ATM. Why? I'm going to tell you why right now. Because people don't know why you went to the store. Now, you are being watched, but it's not as obvious. So if there's someone outside, like watching for when you come out, they don't really know why you went into Walmart. You might have gone in for some milk. You might have gone in to pay a bill. You might have gone into, there's 100 reasons why you can go to Walmart, right? Or you can use the ATM in Walmart. And there's also more security around this type of place as well. There's also another store that we like to use sometimes, Coppel, Coppel. This is a department store. Excuse me. That's a department store in Mexico City. Well, everywhere in Mexico. And they also have like a bank, but it's like part of the store. So it's kind of cool because you can get money and use the ATM. And then once again, people don't really know why you're going in. Now let's get back to this. Also, if you bring cash, if you have cash with you, which you always should, because you never know if places are going to accept credit cards, keep it in multiple places. So you should have one place, like one little bag with a small amount of money, and most of your money like hidden, way tucked away where you don't have to be whipping it out. If you do need to get into your bigger cash, go to like the bathroom, please, and take out your money. Never pull out a lot of money, cash from anywhere, because there's somebody paying attention to see where you're getting it from, and you don't want anybody to even know how much money you have, okay? When I say a lot of money, anything above 500 pesos. You don't want anybody seeing those bills, okay? And also, some people ask me, do places in Mexico City accept US dollars? For the most part, the answer is no. You might find places like in Polanco. I'm going to write that name right now, okay? Polanco is like the super, like, Beverly Hills of Mexico City. Maybe in Polanco, but for the most part, no. You need to have Mexican pesos. Thank you, JD. Let's get to Steve's question. Thanks, Steve. Have I used Felipe Angeles Airport, the airport 30 miles from central Mexico City, as an alternative to the main airport in Mexico City? No, I have not. My husband is here, though. Let me ask him, okay? Amor, ¿has usado el aeropuerto en Felipe Angeles? We're finding out. Okay, el servicio es igual. Okay. Hang with me here. Okay, so the airport is about an hour away from getting into Mexico City. The service is pretty nice. It's apparently, according to my husband, who's lived here for 50 years, the service at Felipe Angeles Airport is very nice. It's a very modern airport. There's less people using it, so that's really nice, so less stressful. But it is a little more difficult to get into Mexico City, but you can always Uber. Yeah, it takes longer. It just takes longer. The cool thing about Mexico City Airport, Benito Juarez Airport, is there is public transportation that goes right into the airport, which we're doing a video on in a couple of weeks. I'm going to teach you the ins and outs of public transport right into Benito Juarez Airport. So I wish I had more information for you, Steve, but I don't. I'm sorry. Let me know if I can help you with anything else about, especially Benito Juarez Airport. I do know about that. I've used it many times. I usually pick Benito Juarez because of the transportation, because I like to be able to just hop on the metro and go where I want to go. I don't like the challenges of getting outside the city and trying to figure out how to get in. I don't like that. So, okay. Hopefully I answered that question. Thank you. Anybody else with a question, let me know. Okay, I think we answered everything about money. Oh, yeah. My answer to the money issue in Mexico City is just use a credit card. Use a credit card. You should always have cash, because it doesn't always work. Even if they say credit cards work, their machine might not be working. I have had this happen to me, even at McDonald's. I kid you not. Yes, okay, I'm a white girl. I like McDonald's, okay? Yeah, I go to McDonald's in Mexico, okay? But yes, even at McDonald's, they will tell me sometimes, oh, ¿qué crees? No tenemos sistema. That means we don't have system, or our computer system's not working right now for credit cards. And you have to have cash, or they won't serve you. So have some cash always. But credit cards are great. Okay. All right. I think we have one more question. Let me just see. Is it safe? Is Mexico City safe for women traveling alone? There's me looking terrified. Yes. I would say yes. Mexico City can be very safe for women traveling alone. I'm currently married, which you know because I just talked to my husband. So most of the time I have my husband with me, but I lived in Mexico for 7 or 8 years by myself before getting married. And I felt very comfortable getting around Mexico City by myself. Some things I just want to say is make sure you're always paying attention. Make sure you learn where you're going before you go there, which watching my videos will help you to do. And don't go out at night in most places unless you're in like super ritzy areas, well lit, lots of people out. Go out at night, that's fine. But don't go out at night, you know, in most places in Mexico City by yourself. But that's everybody. That's not just women. So ladies traveling by yourselves, pop to Mexico City. You can do it. Okay. I got a question from JD. Let me see. Do ATMs let you choose the denominations? I heard small notes are better for getting street food. Amen, JD. Yes, this is such a good tip. No, a lot of times ATMs will not let you choose the denomination, and this is a big problem, everybody. JD is helping us think of really great questions here. You are going to struggle to get change in a lot of places in Mexico City. A lot of times, the ATMs will want to give you, if you get a certain amount, they want to give you everything in 500 peso bills, and it's hard to break a 500 peso bill. 500 pesos, everyone, is really the equivalent of approximately $30 US. But to put it in perspective, like JD was saying about getting street food, you might pay 30 pesos for street food, right? And so if you're trying to pay with a 500 peso bill and get some street food for 20, 30 pesos, a lot of times they don't want to give you change, or they sincerely might not have it. So you should have small denominations. 100 pesos, 50 pesos is what you want. How do you get change? This is the great question that I'm always struggling with. And if you're interested in that, I also have a video called 10 Things I Hate About Mexico City, and this is one of them. It's super hard to get change. Everybody says, no tengo cambio, no tengo cambio. I don't have change. It's super annoying. Break those bills as soon as you can. Your best bets are at big stores. So if you're buying some at Sears, you're buying some at Walmart, you're buying at a big sit-down restaurant, use your big bill. Always be thinking about, wait, where can I use this big bill to get change? You got to kind of like strategically do that. And also, thank you, JD. He says, I enjoyed the video with you and your husband trying the chips. I know which ones not to bring back. Yeah. Yes. Doritos Incognita. Yeah. Very nice. Well, hey, I have had a lot of fun today on this live. Thank you for those that have tuned in live. Remember, please check out Senor Sarah's Classroom.com for Spanish classes or tour information here in Mexico City, and I'm continuing to update this website with a blog and all kinds of stuff. We're going to say goodbye for today, but thank you for tuning in. Comment below if you have any further questions about Mexico City, and thank you for coming. I'll see you guys next time. Nos vemos. See you.